tools and tips to get you started. So for help and support to lose weight, search Better Health. Let's do this.
Did you know that over 361,000 children die every year due to lack of clean water? Clean water is not a luxury, but a basic human right. UKIM is working to end their suffering by providing clean and safe water. This Ramadan, make a difference. Provide clean and safe water with UKIM. For donations, call now or visit ukim.org.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Every 20 minutes, a child comes into care in the UK. Stars Fostering is a not-for-profit organisation set up with the aim to provide children in care with loving long-term families and support up to the age of 27. Our foster families receive excellent support and training. We are looking for new families right now. Could you open your heart and home to a child? If you have a spare room, contact us at starsfosteringcic.co.uk. That's stars with a Z, or call us on 07765 456 972.
In the heart of Cambridgeshire, this is Salaam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Salaam Sports here live on Salaam Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. And as you might be able to see, because we are live on Facebook, I'm here in the studio all by myself. But you guys are in for a treat because I am being joined by two of my favourite guest presenters. And that is Rashid Ansari and Bidan Ganguly. Are you both there?
We are. Well, I am.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining. So you're going to be filling the boots of normal presenters, Sadat, Akram and Arif Aziz. Arif is obviously still away. He's in Pakistan trying to get it back. But as soon as they're in the red list, he's going to have to quarantine for a little while. And Sadat, who's got family around today. So it's just the three of us, just like the olden days. I'd like to say just like the olden days, but you two had a stint on university radio, didn't you? Rashid, tell us a little bit about your time on university radio. What kind of show did you do?
It was so long ago. Oh my God.
Rashid was ahead of his time, basically, because he came up with the dating format, like I'm not going to mention the name of the person in question, but it was Find Somebody a Man, and I always thought that was
wow.
He predicted the next 20 years of reality TV right there.
That's literally all we see on TV nowadays, isn't it?
Exactly.
Okay, well, this is not that kind of show, fortunately. Yeah. We are talking sports. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about England and India. They're currently in day 4 of the test, and it's a bit of an intriguing test. This thing's kind of been taken out of it, but we'll talk a little bit about that. Rashid, I'm hoping you can give us a bit of an update on the Pakistan Windies. I think that's close of day 3. So hopefully you can give us a bit of input or info on what's going on with that. And otherwise, obviously, the big thing is the start of the Premier League season. And boy, have we been waiting for this. I just feel like the summer's just been leading. It's always leads up to just the opening weekend, and we're here now, so we're going to be talking a little bit about that. But as well as that, we're going to be discussing the Messi transfer, which we didn't get a chance to discuss last week, and some interesting developments with regards to how that's all panned out as well, are coming out of the woodworks as we speak. So we'll discuss a little bit about that. But starting on the cricket and England, India, Rashid, what's the latest state of play? Last time I saw it, India were 3 wickets down.
Yeah, India are currently 54 runs ahead, 83. The key wicket of Cody went just before lunch.
Kohli didn't get many runs, did he? Did he go for about 5 or 7 or something?
Yeah, he didn't get many. So India currently 81 for 3. And then the game's still in a balance, sort of. I mean, India are only 54 runs ahead. Basically, India are 54 for 3 now. But you think if there's one major partnership and India can take the game into tomorrow, then it will probably end up being a draw. But England need to take quick control of India out within 100, 120, 150 runs ahead, and they have a very good chance of winning it. If India get a lead over 200, then I think England will just happily play out for the draw.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I started. I looked at the scores overnight, and I was thinking this is interesting because Root carried his batting. He throughout the innings, 180 not out, fantastic innings. Literally looked like we were way out of this Test match, and he's rescued a draw for us and potentially put us into a position where we could go for the win. But did you see that the treatment that the Indian bowlers were giving to Anderson? Did anybody see that last night?
No, I didn't see that. No, what was it?
Well, Anderson was last man in, and I think it's Bumrah bowled a 10 ball over because he had 4 no balls.
Wow.
Which is fine for England because it's 4 extra runs, but it was 4 no balls because he was overstepping and he was throwing in bouncers, catching Jimmy on his shoulder, in the ribs a couple of times, and really giving him a tough time. And there's a few people. I mean, there was Joe Root at the non-strikers end having a word with the umpire as well, and there was a suspicion that it was deliberate. There was a suspicion that they really wanted to just make a point and really pepper him with some short deliveries. So not really in the spirit of the game. But I mean, Rashid, that kind of treatment will probably just fire Jimmy Anderson up, right?
It hasn't really worked so far, has it? I mean, I think what you say right now is like it's worked because Jimmy's not done anything with the ball so far.
No, didn't you have a 5 for in the first innings?
He did.
Oh, all right. Since he's been peppered, he's done nothing. Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, since he's been peppered, you could say they've kind of intimidated him, which works. And look, the question of being in the spirit of the game, I'd say it's borderline because you do. I mean, hostile bowling, going after it's part of the theatre of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go after a particular batsman. Doesn't matter even if it's a tail end, that you go after, you rough them up, and you try to get into the brain. Then you've got to put on 3 Test matches now. Jimmy Anderson is the greatest seam bowler in the history of Test cricket. He's taken more Test cricket than anybody else. I mean, even then Glenn McGrath and everything else, right? And so if you can put a knockout blow on him, if India can, then what you've done is you've really taken away the edge England have, because England's batting has been, let's be honest, other than Joe Root, been atrocious. Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned that. I mean, they were talking about Joe Root, obviously 180 not out. Firstly, I mean, wow, 180 not out. But secondly, it's a signature of a great innings, isn't it? Where your team's under pressure, and even if you get like 100 odd, you're probably still, Oh
yeah, no, without any doubt. If it wasn't for Joe Root, England probably would be on the verge of losing right now.
I mean, the only one that stood with him was Bairstow and maybe a little bit Moeen Ali for a little while. Pretty much everybody else, the other end, you just saw partner after partner being dispatched.
Yeah, I mean, even Haseeb, poor guy on his return, got done.
Well, I wanted to talk about Haseeb. So Haseeb, I'd not heard much about him. Obviously, you'd mentioned him before, saying he's been called back in. The only Test matches he's played for England have been in India in 2016, and he's 24 now. That means he must have been 19 then.
He was 19 then.
And they took him to India to play India. I mean, that's incredible.
He did, and then I think he got a half century on debut.
Yeah, so his high score is 82, and he got that there.
And then he got injured in between for the second Test, and then and that was really it. And then England did lose all 4 Test matches 4-0, and that's pointed out as a British Asian, as British Pakistani. England took 4 British Pakistani Test plays in Moeen Ali, Adil Rashid, Haseeb Hamid, and Zafar Ansari.
Yeah.
And for a lot of British Asians, that was something amazing. It was great, but after that, it was like a huge KO. Literally all 3 of them were dropped. Adil Rashid himself has decided to only play white ball cricket, and Moeen Ali's been in and out sort of.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Moeen Ali extensively on this show, and
but I think Hasib was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because you think, someone like that should have been either fast-tracked or they should have put him on a particular program. Because to go out to play in India is probably harder than I'd probably say even in Australia.
Yeah.
Because of the humidity.
As a batsman, because you play Australia in Australia, you're still going to get flat tracks, right? I mean, you're fair enough. The ball's going to be bouncing around, but the ball's going to come onto the bat. Whereas in India, it's such a tricky.
Yeah, and the crowd is even more intimidating than it is in Australia.
Yeah.
And for a 19-year-old kid to go and get a half century on debut in India as an opening batsman as well. Think about it, you're an opening batsman. And then, like for me, I would have thought the kid's own potential at the very least. And what should then happen? He should put on a particular program where you really build up young, promising cricketers, and you bring him. By the time he's 23, he should have been, been playing Test cricket.
So I mean,
especially after England's openers are so rubbish.
Yeah. I mean, he came in at number 3 and he faced the one ball which he lost his wicket to. Did you see the delivery? I mean, was it an absolute jaffa or did he just give it away a bit easy?
I don't know. It was a very good ball.
Yeah.
But I still think he should have been.
He would get back behind ball, and he was bowled out by Siraj in his first ball, and that's what led to Joe Root coming to the crease. So, what I was going to say about Moeen Ali was, like, we've talked about Moeen Ali a lot on the show, and we've said, look, he's delivered for England in every format of the game, and yet he's just been used as like a utility, in and out, use him when you want, kind of no real loyalty being shown to what was a very promising, potentially one of the best all-rounders that we've had in the team. Okay, maybe not one of the best all-rounders, but certainly a very capable all-rounder that we've had in the team for the last 8-10 years. But we've played him opener, we've played him 4th, we've played him 8th, he's batted 11. He's bowled, he's in the team as a batsman, he's in the team as a bowler, and it's like they just either they don't know how to use him, or they just choose to not use him in one way consistently and let him know what's expected of him.
Yes, I'd agree. I think he's been misused a lot.
Yeah.
But I think it's like the whole sort of thing. They use it, but he's basically intended to football in Phil Neville and play.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
He's just like, I know he kind of thinks it's lovely, because I think as a United fan, he knows what I've done here, right? And that undermines your confidence. It just really undermined. And again, during the World Cup as well, even when England won it, he wasn't treated as well, and that's been kind of. And by the way, in the 100, the new sort of the way they need, he's been doing brilliant captaining the Birmingham Phoenix. I think they're called. He's done an amazing job with them, and he's also done an amazing job with the bat and the ball.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt there's no doubt he's a quality cricketer. Just coming back onto the Test match, then India are 86 for 3. Rahane and Pujara. You just feel like if we can get one of those wickets before tea, we could have a real go at them and maybe give ourselves a target. I mean, the chances are India are going to bat through the day, but if we can get them out before lunch
England needs to put Pujara out, because Pujara so far hasn't had a great tour so far.
Yeah.
And he's meant to be he was basically like Rahul Dravid, an amazing number 3 batsman who be the bedrock of the innings. Things don't go well, and but now he's seeming to dig in right now. So if England can get Pujara out, then I think England would be able to bowl India out fairly quickly.
So definitely one to watch over the next few hours, and hopefully it remains interesting throughout the day tomorrow as well. Just moving on quickly.
3-1. Sorry, 3. Just 3-1. Ben Rama just scored. Well, Ben Rama's
2-2. It's 2-2.
Ben Rama's equalised. Ben Rama's just equalised.
Ben Rama's just equalised for West Ham against Newcastle. Right, okay, yeah. So, of course, that's a live game going on. I did see the first half hour of that, and I tell you what, both teams really came out of the blocks. It was incredible. I'm sure you guys are watching it as well, but Sam Maximum turned rice into egg fried rice, literally.
That was like... Yeah,
he can't even do a noodle, mate. The way he twisted him inside and
Go on,
out.
Bidan, what are you going to say?
No, I was about to say it was like watching Nani in his prime, just going back onto one foot, onto the other. But unlike Nani, he got the crossing in the end that led to a goal.
Literally put it on sixpence. Yeah, that was really good. So we will come on to that. Obviously, that's a live game going on, so we'll talk about that a little bit more. Before we move on, I just want to just mention Pakistan Windies. Pakistan 217 in the first innings. Nobody really got going. There was a couple of half decent innings. I think it was one half century. I can't remember who scored that one. Windies in reply got 253.
Fawad got a half century then, I think. And Babar's now on a half century.
So Fawad got the half century in the first innings. Babar on the half century in the second. Is that right?
Yeah.
And Pakistan are 100. Go on.
Historically, we've got a atrocious record away to the West Indies.
Why is that? I mean, the West Indies.
On the last four was the first time we won a Test series in the West Indies.
Okay.
Because Yunus Khan and Misbah al-Haq's final Test matches, and Pakistan actually won that series. We'd always draw or we always lose away to the West Indies for some reason. It's just, maybe it's a bogey team, or maybe we just, underestimate, or we can't compete with. Because there are slower pitches, but they're not necessarily pitches that are conducive to spin. There's it's in between. And historically, Pakistan have just never done well against the West Indies in the West Indies.
So I don't know how many tests is this series? This is the first test, right? So how many?
Three.
They're playing three. Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean, this one's in the balance. It looks like this one's definitely going to go to conclusion. It's only end of day 3, stumps at day 3, and Pakistan are halfway through their innings. Well, 5 wickets down, so they're probably 3/4 of their way through their innings. It looks like Pakistan will probably end up with about a 170, 180 lead at close. If they get it to 200, I think they'll have done well. But then chasing...
If they can get anything around 220, they have a good chance of winning it.
Yeah, because 4th innings, trying to chase something like that down is...
They've got to have a decent bowling attack. That's what they always have, is a decent bowling attack. And they've got Yasser Shah.
Yeah, Yasser Shah was going to turn it on the final day, and Shaheen Shah Afridi, who's had a really good first innings with the ball, hasn't he? Did he get 4 or 5, I think?
Yeah, he got 4.
Yeah, so he might do a bit more damage as well. So again, 2 really, really good test matches, well poised, well balanced, and things to obviously get matches to keep our eyes on over the next couple of days.
What we should just briefly mention, just paying homage, is how Bangladesh beat in Australia in the T20 series they were playing.
Oh wow, I completely missed that.
They bowled Australia out for 60 in one game.
Sorry, I just got to laugh when Australia loses. You just got to laugh.
For all the Bangladeshi supporters out there, all our Bangladeshi brothers, big you up for that.
And sisters as well, of course.
Yeah, and sisters as well. Both. And for the Aussies, haha.
Exactly. And Independence Day as well. Pakistan Independence Day yesterday. That fell obviously in the middle of the test, and Indian Independence Day today. Happy Independence Day if you guys are celebrating.
Yeah, happy Independence Day to people across the continent.
All right, let's move on. Onto the football. Nothing else really going on within the world of sports that I've been tracking following. The Olympics obviously closed. We spoke about that briefly last week. Other than that, I've not really caught too much. So let's move on to the football and the big story of the summer. The one that's kind of shook the football world. Literally everyone on the planet is aware of the transfer of Messi to PSG. Well, everyone on the planet who's aware of football is aware of the transfer of Messi to PSG. Not as clear cut and not as clean a transfer as you'd expect. Like, I think initial reports were Barcelona are going to do everything they can to keep Messi. Then there was news around financial fair play and Barcelona having to cut their wage bill in order to keep him. There was rumours that Messi had agreed to a 70% pay cut. And now news is leaking out that Messi is owed money from Barcelona. Bidan, help us separate the truth from the conjecture.
Oh, I don't know what the truth is. I'm not an insider. There's only one of us who has inside sources. That's Imran.
That's absolutely true.
Unfortunately, not on the show. But yeah, it was just they were discussing the transfer on Sky Sports News this morning, and somebody suggested that apparently Messi is still owed 40 million euros in wages by Barcelona. I mean, I don't know whether that's true or not, but if it is, and that kind of maybe sheds a bit more light onto why Messi, because a lot of people were saying, oh, Messi should play for free. Messi should have done more to help.
Why
out
should
Barca's
Messi play
back.
for free? Why?
Because he doesn't need. Well, look, the theory behind it, and look, I don't know what Messi's lifestyle is. He's probably got a £50 million a year lifestyle. I don't know what he's got, what his commitments are, what his personal situation is. I don't know, and obviously you can't compare him to the man on the street in terms of, well, give the man on the street £50 million a year. He's set for life.
Yeah.
But the theory is that, you know, he's made more than enough money to. He's got generational wealth now, and he's made more than enough money. He doesn't need to be paid anymore, so he should play for Barcelona for free if he claims to love the club as much as he says. But you know, if it is true that he's owed 40 million, then he might have been playing for Barcelona for free for a couple of seasons anyway. So we just don't know the full story. But yeah, look, I'm sure this one we'll get more and more info. But like you say, he's a PSG player now, and we're looking forward to seeing him obviously in that front line with Messi and Mbappe, with Neymar and Mbappe.
Yeah, I mean, just one more question for you, just on that one. Then, do you think Pochettino is going to win the league in France with Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar? Do you reckon he's got he's got what it takes as a manager to do that?
I mean, look, if he doesn't, then
I don't know. No, if you were to pick one manager that would mess that up, would Pochettino be on that list?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, look, he came second in a one-horse race last year.
Yep.
And you never know, if he doesn't get that blend right, then you know, we'll find out. Look, if he isn't topped if he hasn't won every game by mid-October or something, and it's looking like it's going to be like a race, then they just need to get rid of him as soon as they can.
Because it's not just so it's not just Messi. Messi's Messi, right? That's different level. But it's not just Messi, and it's not just Mbappe and Neymar, is it? I mean, they've got Gini Wijnaldum coming into the midfield. That's going to boost their midfield. They've got Sergio Ramos coming into their backline. That's going to boost their backline. They've basically got like a collection of
Hakimi,
yeah,
who's the best, considered to be the best right back in Europe. So you know, they
Sorry, say that again?
Donnarumma, who was the best goalkeeper at the Euros. So they have just improved and improved and improved. So if they can't, you know, Lille apparently the wage bill, the total wage bill is less than that of what they're paying Mbappe per year. So,
oh wow!
So it's like, you know, that's like a shock. Obviously, look, it's not equivalent to Leicester or anything like that, but it was a small club that took on the giants of Paris, and they beat them. But given the improvements, there's really no excuse for Pochettino to not win it. And if he doesn't win it, then he'll be in the mud.
I mean, I know you think there's no excuse for not winning it last season, but
and a certain individual on our group will be left with a lot of egg on his face after winning.
Penalty at Newcastle, by the way.
Penalty Newcastle. Is that going to be Wilson? Is Wilson taking it?
It's a West Ham. It's a West Ham penalty.
Oh, West Ham penalty.
Yeah. Just a couple of other things to add to what Birhan has said. Where PSG's wage bill is something like over 400 million. The nearest highest wage bill in Ligue 1 is in Lyon, which is about 120 million. Now, Lille, who were the League 1 champions last year, that team's been broken up, and a lot of the best players have been sold off. Players like Boubacar Samara, who's gone to Leicester City, for example, now. So if PSG cannot do not win League 1, not just winning it by a point, they need to win it by 10, 12, 15
I think so.
points.
I think they need to dominate. I think they need to go close to unbeaten.
And if you can't do that with that team and with those players, then it as Bidan said, you know, PSG in the mud, Poch in the mud, it's hugely embarrassing.
By the way,
there's been some action.
I don't think the Qatari owners will be like, right, Poch, please go and win us League One now. They want the Champions League.
Yep.
Can Poch win the Champions League? The answer is no. I just don't think. Even you could give him a World 11. I don't think he'd win the Champions League. To be honest with you, he just doesn't have the minerals. But look, if he gets sacked, then, you know, I don't know who else they'd like. They've probably been through every month out there. But
I see what you're saying.
Warnock could win the Champions League.
Saved penalty, but the rebound's been put in, so it's 3-2 to West Ham.
So who took the penalty? Was it Antonio? Suchek took it, and
the
then
penalty missed. Suchek put the rebound in.
mean,
So they've come back from
So-
2 down.
so Suchek is going to get the fantasy points for scoring the goal, but also he's going to lose points for missing the penalty.
No, so Antonio missed the penalty.
Oh,
And
great!
so I don't know if that's an assist for
It
Antonio.
has to be an
then.
assist. Has to be an assist. Yeah. Which is brilliant
Oh,
because
wow.
both Antonio and Suchek are in my fantasy league team, so happy about that. That's probably the best outcome, I think.
Yeah, Akers in fantasy league. I'm sorry, I just I just
You know,
tune out.
I was hoping West Ham to draw or lose this, then that would put pressure on them to buy Lingard.
I think they're probably going to buy Lingard anyway. I think from
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was talk yesterday that Lingard obviously is, now wants to go to West Ham. I think if you're watching Dan James drop what he dropped yesterday, and you're not, and you think that he's getting in the team, and I know Lingard's got COVID. Has he got COVID at the minute, Rash? Is he out
He
of the
currently
team?
has.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so or hopefully he fully recovers. But I don't know, would Lingard have started yesterday if
No.
if he was fit? I don't think so. And Dan James will be used against teams that, because he runs a lot, obviously Leeds fullbacks like to get forward, and
Yeah.
he's defensively minded. So I think that he would
well-
probably be the second choice next to Sancho, given that Greenwood will probably play the number 9 this
But
season.
we're going to talk.
Yeah,
we're going to
I-
talk lots about United
Okay.
in the second half because obviously they've had a wonderful start to the season.
in terms of-
We are approaching the break, but before we do, I just want to get the final few words from Rashid on the Messi move to PSG. And we talked about what the expectations might be there and so on. But I mean, how does it feel to you watching Messi play for a club other than Barcelona? I mean, he's been there since he was 14. No, since he was 8. Was it 8? How old was he when he went to La Masia?
I think he was 13. He was
13. Okay. So
I
yeah.
mean, look, I'm sure. Look, emotionally, it's going to be somewhat of a wrench for him. But I think look, Barcelona have no one to blame but themselves. And I would just say this: I think it's unfair for anybody to expect Messi to play for free because nobody else plays.
Of course,
for free, or
yeah, of
works
course.
for free. But I think look, it's when Eric Abidal under the previous president went and overpaid in terms of certain players they bought. And not only did they overpay in terms of players they bought, the wages that were offered was just absolutely disgusting.
Yes.
And that's what led to this. And you've got players in that dressing room who aren't fit enough to lace Messi's boots, but are playing for Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean you've got to. I mean you got to. Sometimes when you bring in.
And they're the ones that have helped. Well, I mean, even those players will turn around and say, "Well, why did you give us the wages?"
I think if you're going into a team that's got Lionel Messi in it, you should be willing to be in that team,
it's
regardless of what you get.
4-2.
Is it 4-2?
Yeah, Antonio smashing on the counter attack. Benrahma on the break got into the opposition of Newcastle half, put the ball across the box. Antonio, and he smashed it into the corner.
This is beginning to sound like Saturday Football Live, guys. We are going to go to a break now. So we will come back after about 4 minutes. So we'll leave you with these short ad breaks, and in the second half we will talk about the Premier League results. See you soon.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
कोविड-19 से एक लंबी जंग लड़ते हुए हम यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं और अब उन्हीं एहतियातों को बरतने की वजह से हम बहुत सी ऐसी बातों का लुत्फ ले सकते हैं जिन्हें हमने बहुत मिस किया, लेकिन वायरस अभी तक हमारे दरमियान मौजूद है। लिहाजा अभी भी अपनी फैमिली और दोस्तों की हिफाजत हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। याद रखिए, हो सके तो हमेशा बाहर मिलिए और घर के अंदर हो तो ताज़ा हवा को भी अंदर आने दें। ज्यादा लोगों की भीड़ में जाएं तो फेस को जरूर कवर कीजिए। बाहर जाते हुए बहुत एहतियात बरतिए और बराबर टेस्ट करते रहिए। जिंदगी को आगे बढ़ाइए। ज्यादा मालूमात के लिए विजिट gov.uk/coronavirus।
Looking to improve your living space? Plan your dream home with AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms. We design, manufacture and install your perfect kitchen or bedroom to your personal space and taste with clever storage utilising every inch. We pride ourselves on our exquisite attention to detail. Let AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms plan your perfectly tailored space fitted around you. We also offer bespoke services for understairs storage, TV units and feature walls, all designed and manufactured by us. Call us now on 01733 686 767 or visit abjkitchensandbedrooms.co.uk. Open to the trade and public. AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms, Unit 3 Brassey Close, Peterborough, PE1 2AZ. Plan your dream home with us. abjkitchensandbedrooms.co.uk.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jyoti Sood. Let's face it, lockdown has left many of us carrying some extra weight. But extra weight can put pressure on our bodies, making it harder to fight diseases like cancer, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. So now is a great time for us to get our weight on track. The Better Health website has lots of free tools and tips to get you started. So for help and support to lose weight, search Better Health. Let's do this.
Could you spare a few hours each month to provide support to people going through tough times? If so, Peterborough Samaritans are looking for volunteers who are empathetic and open-minded, and we'd love to hear from you. We run information sessions where you can find out more about what it means to volunteer for the Samaritans. If you're at least 18 years of age and would like to know more, please email volunteer@peterboroughtsamaritans.org.
Desi Restaurant is open, so why not order now for your family meal tonight? We've got fish pakora, chicken pakora, charga steamed chicken, lamb and vegetable samosas, biryani, pizza, faluda, jalebi, gulab jamun, samosa chaat, fresh chicken and lamb handi, Lahori channa and much more. We've got it all at Desi Restaurant. Special offer, Niari Opaya with 1 naan or roti only £6. Special lunchtime offer from noon to 4 p.m. Chicken or lamb curry and 2 roti only £6. Mixed veg curry or tarka dal and 2 roti only £5. Order now at desirestaurantonline.com and pay online safely, or call us on 01733 555 795. Delivery available, or you can collect for a 10% discount. 298 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, PE1 2ND. Desi Restaurant, the trusted family favourite.
Visit our website, salamradio.co.uk.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Salaam Sports here on Salaam Radio. Thank you so much for joining us again, and thank you to all of our listeners in Luton as well, Inspire FM 105.1. Thank you so much for joining the show. I have on the line with me Rashid Ansari and Bidan Ganguly. Hi guys, welcome back.
Image, I'm really hungry now listening to that advert. Desi Restaurant sounds like a magical place.
Desi Restaurant is indeed a magical place. It's one of the top spots. Really is the place to go if you're in Peterborough, if you're looking for a really good traditional Pakistani cuisine. They've got niaris, they've got pies. I'm not going to regurgitate the advert that Amir Suleiman did so eloquently. I'll leave that as it is. But yes, definitely when you're next in Peterborough, I'll take you down there, mate, and we'll have a.
We should do a show from there. We'll set the cameras up. We'll live stream it. Have a get at a table. Just eat.
Brilliant.
Let's
set it up. I'll speak to the station manager, see if we can get that done. Let's go on to the opening weekend of the Premier League. I mean, the Premier League is back. That's the big thing, isn't it? It's back. Yeah. And what a way to start. Newly promoted Brentford at home. They're just a bus stop in Hounslow apparently, and and they're hosting the mighty Arsenal. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm just gonna look. Arsenal were woefully underprepared for the occasion that it was for Brentford. Arsenal are just going through the motions. They've never been relegated, have they, from the Premier League? They've always been there. They were one of the big teams maybe 10-15 years ago. They took it for granted. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that, look, they, more than anything, and I think that this is what like Carragher and Neville said was most galling for Arsenal, is that they've got physically bullied and they got outworked, and it's just, they just need a bit of metal, Arsenal do. I mean, I remember when like Watford beat them that time and Troy Deeney went and gave a post-match interview in the studio, I think, and said, look, they don't, you look at them and you just think, right, I'm having you today, and it's like, I'm going to bully you. And again, they just didn't really compete physically, that's unacceptable. That is just not, you can't be the best player in the world, but you could theoretically be one of the strongest and the fittest, and they just didn't compete on that front. And I looked at that Arsenal starting 11 and I just think, and again, I go back to when Arsenal beat United 1-0 due to that penalty
last season.
Yeah, and everyone was saying Arteta's got a plan. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's clueless. There's no identity for Manchester United. Arsenal are playing the right type of football.
I was one of those. Honestly, I was one of those. I'll admit it openly. That was
fast forward 12, 15 months, and it's just, I just look at Arsenal and I just think, like, who is signing the players, right? Who is, what is the style? Who's signing the players?
Well, they brought in Thomas Partey, didn't they, last season? And he looked like a really promising player. He's been ruined, I feel, at Arsenal. He looked like a really, really good player in La Liga, and one that I was kind of a little bit disappointed that Liverpool went after, actually, or didn't get. But they brought him in. They brought Ben White in now, and it's harsh to judge him just on the one game, but you just feel like even when they had like the likes of Mertesacker and Mustafi and those kinds of centre backs, they weren't as easy to bully. They've got, who do they have? They have Chambers in defence with Ben White yesterday.
Yeah.
And
no, it was Pablo Mari.
Oh, Pablo Mari, was it? Chambers was right back, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just that throw in, that's schoolboy stuff, right? You win the first ball, the keeper's got to want it, the fullback's got to want it. You don't let the ball bounce in your box. It's just basic stuff. Rashid, what are your thoughts on that goal?
I completely agree. Because look, teams that come up, right, even if they spend £100 million, they can't compete with like an Everton in terms of quality, right? And this is Arsenal, right? You're meant to have such sublime quality, so you must know they're going to be physical and they are going to go, revert to long balls when they can and long throw-ins, right? You've got to prepare for that. And it's as if they didn't, and they cried and they were complaining, the goalkeeper. I mean, Leonard's been around for a while in the Premier League, and he's not said it alive. Arsenal are regretting selling Martinez, and they're looking for a new goalkeeper to want to sign Ramsdale. Not sure he's been doing that great either.
I'm just thinking, when an attacker goes to block off the goalkeeper, the first thing you see is the goalkeeper giving him a big shove before the free kick's taken or before the throw's taken. And the keeper didn't. He just stood there and he was allowed to be pinned in.
Yeah, it won't be a foul. That will not be a foul this season. If you look at what happened with Burnley and Brighton yesterday,
Tarkowski one,
absolutely, like Mope was trying to block him. He just went, "Get out my way, son," pulled him over and then won the header and scored. And it's like, I think this season there's going to be a lot more leniency. I think that from what we saw yesterday, there's going to be a bit more. It's going to be more flowing.
Well, I like the Tarkowski interview because he said it.
Yeah, he was
just
like, "Get out my way."
He goes, he was in my way, and what do you want me to do? Stop! I'm going to go for that ball.
To fall over,
that's up to him. I love that. That's brilliant. Goals. I mean, Brentford win 2-0. Well done to them. I didn't like the over-the-top excessive celebrations. I get it, but it's emotionally draining. The crowd will be emotionally drained.
Well.
Sorry.
It's a bit small time as well. Look, I understand Brentford is the first game in the top flight for 74 years.
Yeah.
But they celebrated like they'd won something, right? They'd celebrate like that when you stayed up, or celebrate like that when you've actually won something. I mean,
or when you get a 2-2 draw away at West Brom.
Yeah. It was at home.
Was it at home? Okay, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So, I mean, that would make sense, like, if you do that. But, yeah, no, you're right. I think, I just felt like they've had a really good start. And if they just, take it in a little bit, take in the atmosphere, but then manager, get your guys into the changing rooms and say, well done, guys, go home, get rested, don't party too much, relax, let it bed down. Don't go too high when you win and don't go too low, because they're going to lose more than they win this season. I'm sure of that.
But also, this weekend has been a bit of a different one in the sense that it's the first time it's been full stadium since March of 2020, and I think that people are getting a bit carried away with that. So yeah, I mean, look, we can forgive them, but they just need to make sure they keep focus and just keep going like they have been. They might not have an easier time as they did against Arsenal because obviously other teams are going to be wise to their tactics and what they did. But still, I think they just need to keep it in check.
Okay, I am going to come on to the Manchester United result, and I know you guys want to talk about it. To be fair, I want to talk about it too because I watched the highlights of that game and I was incredibly impressed. But before we do, I want to mention obviously some of the other results. Chelsea looking very, very strong. It was a bit of a walk in the park against Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace. Thoughts on them? Obviously, they've bought as well. They've got Lukaku coming in, looking pretty good unit.
Well, I mean, Rashid, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, Chelsea, they had a great victory, in midweek winning European Super Cup, and they look good on the Tuchel. And Crystal Palace, the new manager, lost a lot of players, brought some new players in. It's going to take Vieira time.
Yeah.
And to bed well. Palace seem to like a cutting edge up top. They've lost Andres Townsend as well, and Eze wasn't there, so it's all down to Zaha. It's going to be tough. And then they've also Palace have lost two really good, experienced defenders, right? Gary Cahill being another one. I've forgotten the name of the other one. Scott Dan, is it? Yeah. Two very experienced Premiership level.
Well,
defenders.
they've had a bit of a clean out, and they've lost players who have got combined appearances of 860 odd. I mean, that's losing a lot of experience, isn't it? That's Premier League experience.
I'll say about Crystal Palace, be careful what you wish for. I'll always remember Newcastle sacking Bobby Robson because they thought that finishing fourth every year wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Look what happened in the subsequent decades. Arsene Wenger was sacked by Arsenal because finishing fourth wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Look what's happened in the subsequent 5-6 years.
Yep.
I think that Crystal Palace, would you call them a Premier League team? I wouldn't.
I've always felt like felt like they're playing above their station. Yeah, and doing well.
Those that were critical of Roy, and yes, I can understand that because the side of pedal, but he kept them up and he made sure they stayed up comfortably. They weren't fighting relegation on the last day of the season under Roy Hodgson.
He knew what he wanted from them and he got it. Yeah.
Yeah, he got it. And then there were still games where he knew he would happily get a point, even and then there were certain games he realised against the bottom 4 or 5. He could get enough points against them. He win 3 points against them regularly, and they'd stay up. If you're going to try and play quality football, you're going to lose. Palace don't have the quality, and they can't buy the quality either because they don't have the funds to buy.
They don't have the money, do they? Yeah.
The only person I would ever replace Hodgson with is a Sean Dyche, is a Sam Allardyce, is somebody who's got that experience and of keeping a team in the Premier League on limited resources. Who's streetwise, who's smart. Like Patrick Vieira, his managerial record is not good.
It feels like an experiment. It feels like an experiment.
They're going to get relegated. I'm going to say it now. They're going down.
They've forgotten about De Boer. It's as if they've completely forgotten about what happened with Frank De Boer.
Yeah.
Palace.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you're saying, Bidzine. Be careful what you wish for. I think Palace would quite like to be like a nice flair team that's dominating possession and playing some really pretty football. But sometimes you just got to get the ball in the box and get Benteke on the end of it. That's just what you got to do.
Yeah. Do you remember Stoke? And then they got rid of the manager and they wanted to play pretty football. And what happened to them?
Yeah, exactly. They're almost a long forgotten memory. Let's move on. The result that I particularly enjoyed watching the highlights for was the Brighton game, the Brighton Burnley game, and it was a bit of a comeback, wasn't it? We mentioned the Tarkowski goal. And the only reason I bring this up is because the managers made 2 changes and both of them have paid off. I don't know if you guys watched that, but he made a substitution, brought on Moda. With pretty much his first touch, put the ball across from Warpie to equalise, and then he brought on Alexis McAllister, and he goes and scores the winner.
Yeah,
Who's Argentinian?
Is he Argentinian or English?
He's Argentinian.
Argentinian Scottish.
Argentinian Scottish. But I think again, Graham Potter, fantastic. He's another I think people know he's done a great job at Brighton. And Burnley, apparently that's the 9th game in a row they haven't won in the Premier League. And I know that last year the people that there weren't fans there. I mean, I know that affected Liverpool more than anyone, but I think other teams were affected as well. But yeah, I think that, Burnley again, they've got to be careful. But yeah, Potter, great. He does make good substitutes. Not the first time this has happened. I remember against like Arsenal once, he made substitutions when they were 1-0 down and then ended up winning. But yeah, he's been a great manager, and again, somebody who I think wants, will probably end up at a different club, maybe higher than Brighton. But yeah, it was an interesting game yesterday.
I'd agree with you, Vinci, about one thing about Sean Dyche. I mean, he's a good manager, and he would keep Burnley up, but literally, Burnley have no money, and they're not really spending. They've only bought £12 million for a centre half from Stoke, and the young kid, Collins, whatever his name is, they've signed. Other than that, nothing. And you just need 3 or 4 to refresh your squad. And yes, I get it. They can't make £30 million signings, but the owners need to raise some funds to give to Sean Dyche. Otherwise, Burnley will go down. I wouldn't put it past Sean Dyche to go. All the players that Palace have released, players like
Cahill and Dan, like you said,
then the other one, Sean Dyche may just go sign them on a free, and that may help keep players that Palace have released. If Burnley sign them, they'll stay up, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. The other thing I was going to say is it kind of goes without saying that good scouting is vital for clubs, especially the clubs that don't necessarily have the means. But if you look at teams like Leicester, they always seem to find 2 or 3 players every summer that are kind of going under the radar. Obviously, the biggest example of that was Kante when they picked him up. But even since then, they've made a number of signings which have really worked for them, and they've not paid out a huge amount of money. So, teams like Burnley, we talked about Palace, Brighton, these guys, if they haven't got the £30 million, they need to have a really good scouting system in place to pick up young, somewhat undiscovered talent playing in maybe the French league, Belgium league, I don't know, playing in Eastern Europe, whatever, players that show a bit of promise. And I don't feel like teams like Burnley do that often enough.
I think
I don't know. It's worth pointing out. Let's move on because we're quickly running out of time. Shout out to Liverpool, obviously 3-0. Obviously Norwich is like that's a banker, 6 points for us every season. So glad Norwich are back in the Premier League. The other one was Rafa Benitez, 1-0 down at half time, gets booed at half time, wins the game 3-1. Good start for him. I mean, he's a good manager. He's managed at the top level, and I'm sure he'll do a good job at Everton. I mean, Everton are a decent club, and he could potentially be the manager that takes them that little bit closer to European places. I'm not saying they'll finish top 4. I don't see them finishing top 4 this season, but they'll certainly be there or thereabouts. Thoughts, Bidan?
Yeah, I agree. I think that again, I feared for Rafa, just to use a phrase. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of his, but when they went 1-0 down and were getting booed, then you just thought, oh God, this could turn quite sour for him. But again, he seemed to get a good reception when he came out at the beginning of the of the game, and I think that as much as some Everton fans might not like him, I think that he is widely respected in Liverpool as a city because obviously what he's done around like things like Hillsborough and all of that. So I think that he is, viewed as like a good guy, and like it's like that. I don't know whether you saw the Gary Neville overlap sort of pre-season chat that they had with all the fans. I don't think Liverpool fans view Everton as any sort of threat, and I think there's a thought that maybe he can do better with the players that Everton have got than Ancelotti did. Yeah. So and obviously, look, it's good for Everton that they came back, and I thought that Doucouré goal was like he looked ungainly doing it, but it was quite a decent strike.
It was a very good goal.
He nearly fell over 3 times when he was doing that swivel. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Image, one thing I'd say to you, one thing you raised on the group chat, like Ismail Assar, who's looking at where would he go? I think he probably like that. It's the same move for him. He'll go from Watford to Everton or to Aston Villa or something like that. I don't think he's top 4. But so United were rumoured to be looking, but I think that was just a rumour. It wasn't like.
Well, do you remember
Liverpool have been heavily rumoured with Ismail Assar as well.
Well, this is the thing. I saw
Liverpool will sign him.
I saw Ismail Assar break out last season, and he had a few good games, and I brought him into my fantasy team because I think this guy's awesome. And then Liverpool, when they were going unbeaten, they played Watford and lost 3-1, 3-0.
Yeah, he destroyed
us. He absolutely destroyed us. There's no two ways about it. And since then, he was a right handful. There was a whole analysis piece on him and how he absolutely mullered the left back. I forget the guy's name, Ben Masters, I think it is. for Villa.
Not Matty Cash, it's the other one. God, I remember
I thought
Matt something. Target, that's it.
Target, yeah, Matt Target, there you go. Yeah, absolutely destroyed him.
Well.
So I don't know. Yeah, maybe he doesn't walk into the top four. You're right, but with Liverpool getting rid of somebody like Shaqiri, they could potentially. I mean, Sar's a bit more wide player, but I would not be upset if Liverpool are looking at him. And it just seems like he's going to have another season at Watford, which I think is a bit of a shame for him and a shame for potentially for somebody else too. Let's move on. Manchester United, what a start! I mean, that's as good as it gets, right? Playing Leeds United, who had a decent season last season. They've not, they're a decent team. They're not, newly promoted, fresh in the Premier. They're a good team, I feel. But you guys just tore them apart. I mean, what was it? How does Manchester United click so early in the season, where pretty much every other team's like struggled to find their feet a little bit?
Well, I think it was down to a few things. Well, obviously, everybody everyone's probably discussed like the 4 Pogba assists. Everyone's discussed the Fernandes hat trick. But the things that so in terms of how it's clicked, right? I think that last season we had no pre-season. We came back from that tournament in Frankfurt, I think it was, somewhere like the Europa League tournament. The worst possible thing happened. We got to the semis and we just didn't have that rest. And I know we had the Euros this year, but some of the players just did look more rested and fitter. Like Fernandes was definitely one. But one thing I would definitely say for me, and it's like I said, everyone has discussed the Pogba assist and like Fernandes hat trick. But for me, just looking at Mason Greenwood, he looks to have really worked on his game, and he looked fit as well. He looked like he was bulking out, but he just looked like the way he was coming deep and like turning, and the way he fed.
Well, that chance he created for Pogba was sensational, because he got it on the half turn, nicked it past the player, drove at the heart of the defence. Timing of the pass was perfect, the weight was perfect, and Pogba did a step over and just missed the target.
And the other one was McTominay. Was like I thought that he was just covering lots of ground, and he was also playing decent passes, breaking stuff apart. I thought he was really good as well. And just to go back to Greenwood, I thought that finish that he did was just lethal. And for me, that was the goal that pleased me the most, because that is the kind of chance you'll get. Like Lindelof isn't going to put Fernandes through every game. Pogba's not going to get 4 assists every game, although Pogba obviously. But that chance was just like that was just lethal. That was lethal. That just made me think, wow, this is someone. What is the ceiling here? He's only 19, Mason Greenwood, and I just think the way it was like Solskjaer-esque. So that was a favourite finish of Solskjaer: low, hard, hit the far post, and it goes in. Yeah. And that for me was just the one I found most exciting, because he's got pace as well, and he outpaced that Leeds defender and smacked it in. And I just think that was...
He did, and he was coming in off of the tight angle and literally had, probably like a foot and a half to aim at pace and with zip. Rashid, what are your thoughts on United clicking with Pogba on the left? Like, that's not a long-term position for him, but I mean, I echo what Bidsy's saying, just in terms of McTominay and Fred. They were really good in protecting and allowing the front four to go and express themselves.
I think look, with the additions that we've had over the summer, there's a lot more depth in the squad in general now, and what that's leading to, especially now with Rashford being out for a period of time, it allows Solskjaer to put Pogba out on the left, so he's away from the centre, because there are times, and then actually, it's not even times, it's actually true. Pogba does lose the ball in the centre of the park, because sometimes he's a bit over elaborate. He's a brilliant player, creates loads, but he does defensively. He's not
I mean, this is what we've spoken about this at length many times.
Can't play a double pivot.
I'm just thinking, like, you guys have scored 5 goals without Sancho and Rashford and Cavani, right? So you've got those 3 players.
And Varane wasn't there. Dean Henderson.
I know Varane's always defensive players. I'm just saying, like, these 3 attacking players, and you've not got them. So you've got plenty of cover up top, which means if Pogba makes your starting 11, he's going to be taking out McTominay or Fred, right? That's the only thing I can see happening. And then you open yourself up to potentially, having somebody who's immature defensively.
Well, exactly. And like going back to what Rash was saying, I do remember a certain midfielder who had every trick in the book, who, all the talent in the world, who as a central midfielder was moved out at half-time of a certain game, and then spent the next 3 seasons on the wing. And I think that it works, you know. And it's the same things happened with Pogba. So you know, I think Pogba is probably better on the left. Again, like, you know, he got chastised in the France-Switzerland game for not tracking back, not tracking runners after he scored that worldie. And I think he was, like Solskjaer said after the game, like, I just said to him, you know, go and play your football, go out there and destroy. And,
and don't worry about the defensive side of the absolutely.
He didn't have that much responsibility. He was just like, where Pogba's best is going to be the quick ball around the corner, quick touches, you know, flare flicks and all that kind of stuff.
But interestingly, Luke Shaw was one of your best attacking players from deep last season, and yesterday he barely got into the other half because he had Pogba in front of him. He's not going to go on the overlaps as much, so you'll probably lose a bit of that. But having said that, you gain so much in having the flair plays that you do. Just moving on a little bit, Manchester United, we have to consider them as serious title contenders, or are you both going to play it down and say it's City's again?
No. I mean, look, they are title contenders, but you'd have to put City first, Chelsea second, and then Liverpool and United on a similar peg. But Liverpool have the experience of it all, and I think Liverpool will definitely be challenging, and Liverpool will be there in April, whatever, challenging. But then again, so should United, so should Chelsea, so should City. I don't think it'll be 90 points. It may be in its mid-80s, because 4 teams of that quality taking it off each other. And again, it comes down to last season, Liverpool had horrendous injury problems. Cost them.
Yeah, we were the only team that had injuries last season.
We don't know about injuries and suspensions and what happens. And that plays a crucial part. But I expect Liverpool to be up there. And
you're saying City, Chelsea with United and Liverpool fighting for third. Sounds like. Bidan, do you agree with that?
Well, do you know what? It's a tough one. I don't think Lukaku is going to make as much of a difference as people think. I don't know. This is just my gut feeling, right?
You can't go worse than Timo Werner, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, my friend, like that guy, he was on the overlap, Rory. He's was talking to. He's a friend of mine actually, and he hates Timo Werner with a passion. He just thinks that he cost him so much. But he really rates Abraham, who I actually don't rate. But I just think that, look, I watched Liverpool yesterday, and I think they are back to themselves. Obviously, they had a last season, but I think they're back to themselves. United. So the only thing about Solskjaer is that he's either horrendously good he's either very good or horrendously bad. So we have gone on runs in the past, like when he first joined, like we won like 14 games on the bounce or something like that. But then you go and have a 14-game run where it's like the worst 14-game run in recent United history. So I just want to see United put together a run, and our first 7 games are winnable. Like,
I want to have to push you. First, second, third. What do you think? Because we're running out of time.
First, right? This will probably be wrong. First, I think first City, probably second United, and third Liverpool.
Oh wow! So all the pundits think Chelsea going to win it. So I'm going to go. No. I'm going to go City. I'm going to go City, Chelsea, United, Liverpool. I'm with Rashid. I think that's probably how it's going to pan out. Just very, very briefly, one word answer: is Bruno the best player in the Premier League right now?
I still think it's De Bruyne, to be honest with you. But Bruno, like in terms of stats, is insane.
Rashid,
I'd say KDB right now, but I think Bruno will overtake him.
I think it's Mo Salah, so let's leave it there. Right, we are all out of time, guys. Rashid, Bidan, thank you so much for joining. Thank you to everybody else for joining. No, literally, we are out of time, guys. So join us again next week at 3 p.m. inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.